going on, guys? So today we're going to walk through the installation of our front rack on a Polaris Ranger. After unboxing, you're going to have three different components. You're going to have the tray itself with the H bracket already pre-installed. You're going to have a driver side and a passenger side cage bracket. They will be labeled with a D and a P. So let's dive right into it. The first step before we touch any of the rack components is you're going to come and loosen up your cage bolts. 2 cage bolts on the ROPS system on the passenger side. Repeat the same process on the driver side, and you are going to keep the nut. So you can pull the bolts, but you're going to keep the nut because we're going to use it at a later step in this. So after we have our bolts pulled, again, remember to keep the nuts. Now we're going to install the cage brackets themselves. Again, they are labeled a P and a D. D for driver side, P for passenger side. And this is where you're going to dive into the hardware pack. So we are going to replace the ROPS cage bolts, but reuse the same nut. So you can see what we're doing here. You're going to line the bracket up in the countersunk holes, reinsert your bolts, and you will, at this point in time, you will loosely put the nut on. Just hand tight the nut. Do not crank them down because you'll want those cage brackets to be adjustable up and down when we go to attach the tray itself. So after you have your driver side and passenger side cage brackets attached, the next step is you are going to secure your H bracket to the bumper itself. In this case, we're mounting a front rack on the front of one of our aftermarket bumpers. So it mounts a little bit different than round tube, but if you do have a round tube bumper, your H bracket is going to be equipped with industrial grade rubber tube clamps. So you're just going to come in, press them down, press the tube clamps onto the round tube, and everything from there on out will be the exact same. On this bumper, we just use the little knob bolts and attach it to the threaded inserts on the back of the bull bar. So next step, you can see now it's time to attach the tray to the cage brackets. There's a hole in the back of the tab on the front rack tray, and then a hole on both passenger and driver side cage brackets. You'll line them up, bolt them, fasten everything down, and that'll be about the extent of the front rack. I do want to notate that the hardware that comes with this, you'll have a bolt, 2 metal flat washers, and a nylon washer and a locking nut. The nylon washer goes in between the cage bracket and the tab. And the reason that we do that is to allow you to have quick access and hinge without any friction metal against metal. So just make sure that you take the white plastic washer, and that will go in between the cage bracket and the tab on the rack itself. So after that, obviously, you'll level everything out. There will, you can always loosen up both driver or passenger side cage bracket to get everything as level as possible. Once you're done, you'll come in, fasten and tighten all the hardware down, and that'll be the end of the installation on a front rack.